what is the cost of living actually like in Huntsville, Alabama, and is your paycheck going to go as far here as it does back home? Well, today we're going to be answering those questions and more that you may not have even thought of, and delving into some of the top mistakes people make when moving here. I see it all the time with people relocating here, and it really ends up biting them down the road. So the first three items on this list, we're going to be looking into housing affordability here, taxes, what is that like in Alabama, where Alabama's great and bad, and then healthcare costs, right? Those three right there is going to encompass a lot of your expenses when you look at the typical household budget. Later on down the video, we'll go into transportation expenses, food, and the rest. And then best of all, if you watch all the way through, we'll go into a mock budgets of what $150,000 household income could actually look like here in Huntsville as far as your expenses and what you can end up with on a monthly basis. All right, so the first one on the list, and as a realtor of Redstone Realty Solutions, my area expertise is going to be housing. Now, Huntsville, Alabama does a phenomenal job when it comes to housing. It's a lot more affordable, especially if you're relocating from a high cost of living area. Maybe you're one of the couple thousand people relocating for Space Force or relocating to the new FBI building or any of the dozens of defense contracting jobs and industry moving to this area. From a high cost of living area, if you're rolling lots of equity, Huntsville may look really cheap when it comes to housing. Median house price is about $330,000, $350,000 for Huntsville, compared to a national average of $400,000, and depending where you're moving from, even that may look cheap. Now, here's what most people get wrong when they're relocating here, and it kills me every time. You come in with an expected monthly budget. Your lender says you can afford this amount, you have this amount in your mind, and you never ever account for home maintenance. Well, guess what? Huntsville, Alabama is a buyer beware state, which means sellers don't have to disclose problems to their property. It's on you to find that out, but for the most part. One of the remedies to help protect yourself from unexpected catastrophes is budgeting. Budgeting, at least for starters, I would recommend 1% of the home's value every year for maintenance, repairs, improvements. That helps protect you a lot from unexpected issues down the road, things that maybe even the seller knew about that you didn't. And guess what? New construction, while they've got some guarantees with it, can come with its own problems as well. So Alabama does a great job when it comes to housing. If you are relocating with, we'll go into this a little bit later, a mock household budget of $150,000, you'll see just how far that gets you with that. So leading on to the next major expense is going to be taxes. Now, if you look at this chart that I put up here, you'll see that on a $500,000 house, the property taxes are really reasonable in Huntsville. Property tax is great, but sales tax is where they get you. Sales tax here in Alabama is about 9%. So when you are looking at trying to calculate which move is better, if you're moving from an area with no sales tax like Oregon, ooh, this one's going to hurt. If most of your household consumption is outside of housing, you may see that Alabama costs more than where you're moving from. On the flip side, if most of your expenses was in property taxes, you may end up better off even with the higher sales tax here. When it comes to income tax, Alabama's right at 5%. Now, key point that many people miss here is that Alabama does not tax federal or state pension retirement income. So your Social Security benefits, for instance. This is a huge win for Huntsville if you are 5-10 years out from retiring, and you may end up making this your forever home and retirement place. That's something to keep in mind. Some other tax-like expense. Huntsville, Alabama does not have the vehicle registration fees are very affordable, very reasonable. There's not emission testing. So some of the vehicle expenses that you'll bump into later that you may have in other states is going to be a lot more affordable here. Leading on to category number 3 is healthcare. Healthcare costs in Alabama is on average about 8 to 9% below the national average, which is great news. I'm actually going to link over here to the Huntsville hospital system for you to be able to get an idea of general prices or specialized procedures, things like that, if medical costs take up a big portion of your income or you foresee that going into the future, just to give you an idea of what those expenses may run you. Now, pulling up this, MIT has a fantastic resource, living wage calculator for Huntsville, Alabama, and there's so much good data in here. Not all of it is, of course, as up to date, but we can get a general sense. On this chart here, you can see for a 2 working adults, 2 kids, you're looking at estimated yearly food expenses in the $13,000 a year range. Now, Huntsville, you've got some great discount clubs like Costco, or membership clubs like Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's, that can help bring those food costs down if you're buying in bulk. Now, when it comes to food away from home, there are not a ton of restaurants to eat out at compared to other major cities. For example, just recently I was in Charlotte, North Carolina area, and the food there was phenomenal. I was surprised though by how nice of an area that was compared to Huntsville and how similar the prices for food really was. You're looking at, if you're going out to get some hamburgers, you can maybe expect $15, $16, $17 a burger there. If you're going for if you're going out to a nicer establishment, maybe in the Bridge Street Shopping Center, you might be pushing those high 20s, low $30 a plate menus without drinks. So food away from home, comparable, I guess, to other major cities. If you're going to the Stove House, which has smaller businesses there and kind of more trendier foods like avocado toast or your ramen, fancy smoothie shops, you're looking at that $9 to $11 range for your drinks and small meals. Your larger meals, be pushing high teens, low 20s per plate. When it comes to transportation, we teased about this a little bit earlier, but Huntsville doesn't have emissions requirements. Gas right now, well, this could date this video, but tends to be below national average. We'll say that. Utility costs, according to living wage calculator here, from MIT, they're saying around $180 a month for utilities. Obviously, that's really going to vary depending on if you're getting an older style home with single pane windows and you want the AC cranked up to 68. Yours is going to be much higher than that during the summer. The energy efficiency of your home, the temperature you like to keep it at, of course, all that, the size of your home, all that will heavily influence. I would say, estimate more conservative, around $350 if you're looking at a larger home. Personally, I'm in a smaller house, about 1,300 square feet, brand new construction. And we're looking at usually around $160 a month for electric. And we keep it fairly warm in the summer and cool in the winter. Internet, phone, you've got the national plans all over the place. A lot of, you got your Joe Wheeler Electric in many places, or your Google Flash Fiber, your AT&T, $600 a month for your home internets, high-speed internets, and then phone is depending on how expensive a phone you are financing and how many they are. If you're doing a discount plan or a national plan like an AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whatnot. So this will be fun leading up. I pulled up here just a mock estimate if you were making $150,000 household income. Now, for comparison, according to census data, the median household income in Huntsville is about $78,000. So you're nearly twice the average here with $150,000 income relocating here. Obviously, with that, you can afford a much nicer house than the median home price, but how far does that really get you? So in this example here, which you can see, household income is $150,000. State tax estimated taxes I pulled from smartasset.com. You can see the link here and play with that. Looking at take-home pay on $150,000 income, about $108. And then if you're doing some retirement or TSP contributions of, say, $10,000, you got some health insurance premiums of $6,000. You're looking at $8,600 a month. Now, this is where so many people get it wrong when they're looking at purchasing a home here. If you're buying, let's say, a $500,000 house, 5% down, then you're looking at a $475,000 mortgage. That housing expense is going to eat up nearly 45% of your take-home pay. If you are smart and include a home maintenance budget on top of that, basically, if you take my recommendation of at least 1% a year, you're looking at around $400 a month that you're putting off in a separate checking account or separate savings account to save for those rainy day fund when it comes to your house. In which case, housing plus maintenance could eat up as much as 50% of your take-home pay. Ouch. I don't like to see anyone getting in a bind there. Now, let's say you're going down to about the $400,000 price point you're looking at. with that 5% down, then you're looking, it's a little bit better. You're looking about $3,100 a month for an estimated mortgage payment, about 30% of your take-home pay, and then your home maintenance would be about 4%. So 34%, still very high, but so is as is much of the rest of the country. The good thing on this, though, is you are getting a house above the median. You got to remember, too, your income is almost twice the household median, so it may not feel like you're as far compared to other people. If you do have some equity, that helps you get even more bang for your buck, of course. But if you've got other expenses like kids' colleges that you're going to be paying for, or childcare, or private school, that can quickly cause you to change some of these numbers depending on your situation. The next items we're looking at based off living wage calculator, if you're assuming a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children, $13,000 a year for food, works out to around $1,100 a month, call it. I put down $350 a month for utilities, assuming that if you're buying a bigger house, you're gonna be on that larger, it's gonna cost more to heat and cool, let's face it. Phone around $150, phone and internet. Transportation around $1,200 a month if you're two cars, 2 working adults, if you got car payments. So based off these numbers here that you can see, and you can adapt them, adjust them, of course, for your situation, you're looking at fixed expenses if you buy on the upper end of the house at that $500,000 mark. Fixed expenses at 83% of your take-home pay, which is going to be very, very tight if you are a little bit more conservative or have some equity that you're moving to the area. Then it gets a little bit better with fixed expenses at 72% of household income. So you can look at these numbers, you can play with these to get a sense how far this will go for you. I'll link over to these other resources so you can kind of compare. According to Living Wage Calculator by MIT, 2 working adults, 2 kids, you would need about $109,000 a year to be comfortable. I didn't see in that data anything for retirement savings, so take that as you will. But it did have some different expenses for childcare or college, which is crazy just how similar those two costs can get. So the next issue that most people completely forget about when they're doing a cost of living comparison is the opportunity cost of this city versus another one. What I mean by that is Huntsville is a major engineering hub, lots of government contractors here, government, federal employees. If you are in that field, those fields, then and Huntsville can be great. It has lots of upward potential as there's so many defense and aerospace companies here. If you are outside of those fields, you're going to have to decide if your chosen career path is going to have enough opportunity here in Huntsville compared to others. Now the good news is Huntsville is attracting a lot more industry to the area. And different companies. We've got Eli Lilly trying to come here to the area, which would be a major pharmaceutical boost. We've got a large manufacturing base as well here in the area. If you go down to the Decatur or Madison area, there's lots of manufacturing in the Toyota, Mazda, Toyota Motors, GE, just Daikin, there's tons of manufacturing. So if you fit any of those roles, there can be lots of career opportunity. If you're outside of these specialties of Huntsville, then you're going to have to weigh whether the cap in earning potential just by being in less of a hub for your niche is worth the trade-off. Now, switching gears a little bit, let's look at some of the major metropolises you might be moving from, just to give you a sense of how far your dollars stretch or what you need to make here. If you're moving from Colorado Springs, then congratulations, you can actually afford to take a pay cut here, going from 150,000 household income Colorado Springs around 135 here in Huntsville. Now, with inflation affecting everyone, I wouldn't want to take a pay cut either. But with the cost of living being a little bit lower, you will stretch further. If you are moving from a very high cost of living area, like where I used to live in Alexandria, Virginia, you only need about $108,000 a year here to maintain that cost of living, to maintain that standard of living that you had in Alexandria, in Virginia. So I encourage you to play with the pay scale calculator a bit. I'm sure you already have if you're looking at cost of living or moving. But really, you can see from a variety of cities here, from North Carolina, Florida, Seattle, Virginia, and more, that Huntsville you're looking about 10% cheaper or so compared to other major cities. And it's because Huntsville is not a major city. You are going to be definitely seeing a step down in the activities and the things to do. It's going to be a much slower pace, much quieter. It's got some nice things. You don't have, it's going to be really hot in the summers. You You're going to have to travel a couple hours away if you want to get to a major city to do things. Otherwise, if you're slowing down, if you are trying to get away from all that and the expensive cities, and you are in one of these fields, Huntsville can be very you can do very well here in the area. If you're relocating from somewhere else in the state, Huntsville is going to be more expensive on average than pretty much everywhere else. Now, one of the big mistakes people make when moving here is they rush into it when they're relocating. They don't know the area yet, and they end up picking an area that they regret. To help you with that, we post videos every single week. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss out. We'll catch you on another video over here in this playlist.